So guys, we need to talk about Trisha Paytas and Ethan because some shit went down between them during their latest podcast episode, and it was really bad. Not only did Trisha go off on Ethan, but she also went off on a ton of different influencers like Jaclyn Hill, Patrick Starr, and even James Charles. So Trisha and Ethan have a new podcast together called Frenemies, which is actually really fitting considering their friendship history or lack thereof. So far, there's only been 5 episodes to the podcast, and this latest one was absolutely crazy. Ethan and Trisha just kind of go back and forth talking about hot topics and gossip happening on the internet right now, and Trisha ends up going off on multiple influencers. The first influencer Trisha talks about is James Charles. Trisha claims that she's never had a problem with James, but she can now see why so many people take an issue with him because of his condescending remarks. Apparently, Trisha said everyone she knows has a problem with James, and a drama channel actually picked it up and reported on it. James ended up commenting on the drama channel's video and said, "Oh, everyone she knows," in a kind of mocking, shady way. I couldn't find a screenshot of this interaction for the life of me, so who knows if it's true or not, but Trisha seemed to be really bothered by it. Then moving on to Jeffree Star. According to Trisha, Jeffree has actually unfollowed her on Twitter, and once Trisha saw that he unfollowed her, she unfollowed him too. I know this sounds like some petty high school drama, and that's probably because it is. Trisha found out from an ex-friend of Jeffree that he was talking badly about her weight and skin while they were together on a trip in Vegas. Ever since then, their friendship really hasn't been the same. Trisha has talked about the situation multiple times and exposed the fact that Jeffree actually reached out to her to apologize. Trisha also reviewed his collection a little while ago and gave it a bit of a shady review, which kind of confused people even more on where the two stood as friends. Well, it looks like we finally have our answers because it's been confirmed that they've both unfollowed each other. Trisha thinks Jeffree probably took issue with her because she didn't defend him as hard as she defended Shane this past summer. It was kind of interesting to see Ethan's reaction as someone who's outside of the beauty community to how toxic and just horrible some of these beauty gurus act. Like, Trisha is just like, "Oh yeah, Jeffree called me fat and he said my skin was greasy and my hair sucked, you know, no big deal, just friendship things." And Ethan is over here looking shocked. He was like, he said, "What?" Another thing I noticed which struck me as odd was Trisha seemed genuinely scared of Jeffree for a second. She brought up how Jeffree said he was going to sue anyone who reported on the fake account of his ex-boyfriend making up lies about him, so she kept trying to get Ethan to stop talking about it because she was scared that he would sue her. Like, she kept being like, "Sue H3H3, don't sue me, sue him." It's like, girl, your channel is literally a YouTube burn book full of hour-long videos exposing powerful influencers. Since when are you afraid of saying something about someone and getting sued? Speaking of getting sued, Trisha also addressed the ongoing drama that she created with Jaclyn Hill. A few weeks ago now, Trisha made a podcast talking about Jaclyn and even accused her of cheating on her ex-husband. Then, a week later, Trisha went on Instagram and said Jaclyn Hill was actually trying to sue someone close to her because of something that she said in her podcast.
And guess what? You can't sue someone for talking about you if you're a public figure. You post those photos, boo-boo. You parade your boyfriend around, boo-boo. You set the timeline, boo-boo. Jaclyn Hill threatening to sue people I know because I talked about her in a video. Come for me. Sue me. Bring those expensive, fancy lawyers to me. I'm just going by what I see, girl. No hate.
Turns out the person Jaclyn is apparently trying to sue is John Hill. John and Jaclyn have an NDA, so he really wasn't supposed to tell Trisha anything about Jaclyn and his marriage, but clearly he did, so Jaclyn is trying to sue him. Trisha then goes on to perpetuate the theory that Jaclyn did in fact cheat on John with her current boyfriend, but Jaclyn has since denied that rumor in her latest Q&A video. Trisha also goes on to drag Mikey because she was recently called out by her ex-best friend Swoop for just being an awful friend and person. Swoop showed text messages of Mikey talking badly about influencers such as James Charles and then going on to collab and gain from them. She talked about how Mikey pretty much said James and Jeffree are only successful because they're gay men. Swoop exposed a lot of racist, gaslighting, and homophobic behavior that she's experienced from Mikey during their friendship. I really encourage you guys to sit down and watch the entire video and really listen to what Swoop has to say, because I think hearing her experience from her own words is so much more powerful than what I could fit into a recap. I think you really have to hear it from her directly, so I'll have that video linked down below for you guys. This brings me to Ethan's and Trisha's fight, which led to Trisha actually walking out and quitting the podcast. You could tell tension started building between the two once the podcast topics started getting a little bit more controversial. Eventually, Trisha brings up the fact that she wants a baby like right now, and she says she's ready to have it on her own or with her boyfriend Moses. She also thinks owning a house is a bigger responsibility than raising an actual living, breathing human child for 18 years, which is just wild to me. It's also probably a good indication that she has no idea what raising a child is like, and Ethan feels the exact same way because he was terrified at the thought of her raising a kid and flat out called her crazy. As soon as Ethan insinuated that Trisha was crazy and had something wrong with her, she snapped. Her whole personality towards Ethan changed, and she attacked him, saying that he has a dysfunctional family. Trisha then brought up something private that Ethan told her about his past drug use, and she then uses that against him, and you could tell Ethan was really taken back by what Trisha was saying. Trisha also accuses Ethan of shaming her for being off her meds, which he literally never did. He never once mentioned anything to her about being off or on medication. They went back and forth for a while, and it was actually really uncomfortable to watch how Trisha just made up all of these things that Ethan supposedly said and used personal information to try and shine him in a bad light. The one thing I like about Ethan and Trisha's dynamic is Ethan always calls her out when she's doing something messed up. He tells Trisha that she has a history of taking personal and private information that people in her life have told her, and when they have a falling out, she uses that information and weaponizes it. We've seen this happen time and time again with Trisha. Even when she was dating Jason, David and his friends made a comment that Trisha would try and ruin them once Jason and her broke up. And that's literally exactly what happened. Mind you, Trisha did end up bringing up some great points about the Vlog Squad, but it still goes to show you what Ethan is saying is true. I mean, she's known for her kitchen floor videos exposing anyone and everyone who's wronged her. Trisha then goes on to drag Ethan and Hila's marriage. She pretty much calls his life and marriage boring and insinuates that Ethan is settling for Hila, which honestly, I don't know how he kept his cool while she's putting down his wife and his family. I just really hope Hila doesn't watch this podcast because her comments were just so uncalled for. It was quite clear that Trisha was just trying to say as much hurtful shit as she could to try and win this argument. Trisha also ends up dragging Ethan's podcast and called it boring. She also said that he gets no good guests on his show, which once again is her trying to hit him where it hurts. Ethan ends up telling Trisha that she's projecting onto him with all the hurtful things that she's been saying, and it really just showed how insecure she was. Trisha ends up walking out of the podcast and storming off, and it's unclear if she ever plans on coming back. Although a few days ago, the H3 podcast Twitter account tweeted out that Ethan and Trisha worked things out and she'd be back next week. A lot of people think the argument must have been staged, and others are expressing concern for the continuation of the podcast. One fan wrote, "I don't know, man, the end of the last episode was low-key terrifying. It's scary how fast she turned vile. Ethan handled it very well though, I must admit. I get that the podcast is probably decently successful, but I don't know if it's healthy to keep doing." Anyways guys, what do you think about Ethan and Trisha's argument? Do you think Trisha was in the wrong for the things that she said, or do you think they both negatively contributed to the argument? The Ace family is back again in another scandal, but this time they actually kind of exposed themselves. They posted a vlog to their channel with what appeared to be unedited footage that was meant to be cut out before posting. In the video, Austin yells and swears at Catherine in front of their kids, and as soon as he yelled at her, her whole demeanor changed. It wasn't like they were having a normal argument or anything. Austin was literally just having a little temper tantrum over how his hair looked.
Hey, but ooh, look at my hair.
No.
Good thing I don't have to. No, I'm gonna say it. Good thing I don't have to be on camera today.
Okay.
God.
Okay.
My hair looks up. I would not film like this. So just go.
Okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Hey, Ace family! Welcome back to our channel, guys.
What's going on? Ooh, look at my hair. Good thing I'm not gonna be on camera today. All right, baby.
Today I'm gonna.
Catherine looked really upset afterwards, and the clip also upset their fans. Here's what people had to say. I stopped watching the Ace Family a while back, and I just came across a clip where Austin yells at Catherine, and y'all, that just broke my heart. You could tell she wanted to cry, and her whole demeanor changed after that. I feel so bad for Catherine. Like, why would Austin yell at her and cuss at her in front of their kids? I think she left that part on the video in for a reason, and she seemed kind of off. I don't know how to explain it, but something didn't seem right when I seen that clip. Another thing that was really weird about the footage was how quickly Austin changed his mood for the vlog. At first, he's yelling and swearing at Catherine because his hair is messed up, and then in the retake, he acts as though it's the first time he's noticing his hair is messed up and acts all cool about it. Catherine actually ended up responding to the backlash on Twitter, saying, "I hope you guys enjoyed today's super chill vibes, something different. And yes, Austin and I get frustrated with each other sometimes. It's called marriage. I wish people would just stop expecting people to have a perfect life. It's just not realistic." So, what do you guys think about the unedited clip? Do you think it's just a normal frustration, or do you think Austin was totally in the wrong? This week, a clip of Nikita Dragun at her pop-up shop opening last year started circulating on the internet again. In this clip, Nikita was taking pictures, and it looks as though she tells the security guard to SHOO so she can take pictures in his spot. This clip upset so many people, myself included, because it's like, that's a human that's standing there trying to protect you, and you want to tell him to SHOO like he's some dog? In the clip, you can see her smiling and acting all happy, and as soon as she turns her head to him, she looks so mad. Nikita ended up tweeting out insinuating that people were spreading lies about the situation, saying, "People believe what they want to believe." She also jumped on Instagram to address what happened from her point of view.
People see what they want to see. Let me repeat that again. People see what they want to see. People who know me, you know my heart and my intentions are always pure. And that's that. That goes without saying. I shouldn't have to explain myself with anything. But let's just do a little fact check real quick, okay? Now there's a clip of me that's going viral from months ago at my Dragun Beauty pop-up store. And it looks like I turned to the security guard and whisper something, and with the context, with the camera angle, and with people trying to use clickbait and all that other stuff and cancel me or what have you, obviously it doesn't look right. But let me just fact check real quick. Because of the camera angle, it looks like the security guard is next to me when in fact he is multiple feet away from me and he's behind a wall. So how is it that I say, "SHOO, get out of my photo"? You guys, it did not happen. I know some people are really obsessed and really want me to be the bad guy. It's so special to me. I know people try to drag me for it all the time, but I don't care if 1,000 people show up, 300, one person showing up for me just like makes my entire world, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. So let's just dead this. That's not who I am. That's not my character. And I would never do something like that, ever.
Personally, Nikita's story doesn't really make much sense to me. We can clearly see that he's right there beside her, and you can see her turn her head to him and say something, and he steps back. Even if he was standing too close and she didn't want him in her pictures, would it have been so hard to say, "Hey, would you mind standing back just a bit so I can take pictures for the 10 people that showed up to my store opening? Thanks." It's really not that hard to just show respect to people, especially people who are just doing their jobs and trying to keep you safe.